In the vast expanse of the cosmos, where stars winked like distant beacons in the velvet night, humanity made its first contact with an alien civilization. It was a momentous occasion, one that stirred both wonder and trepidation in the hearts of all who beheld it. On a clear night on Earth, astronomers pointed their telescopes towards a distant star system, detecting faint signals that hinted at intelligent life. Excitement rippled through the scientific community as they deciphered the alien messages transmitted across the vast reaches of space. Word spread like wildfire, reaching the highest echelons of government. Leaders convened in hushed chambers, deliberating the implications of this unprecedented event. The world held its breath as humanity prepared to make its mark on the galactic stage. Amidst a flurry of diplomatic overtures and cautious negotiations, a delegation of humans embarked on a historic journey to meet their extraterrestrial counterparts. They traveled aboard a sleek spacecraft, adorned with the symbols of Earth's unity and ambition. As the ship approached the alien world, anticipation hung thick in the air. The crew braced themselves for the unknown, their hearts pounding with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. What wonders awaited them on the alien planet? What secrets lay hidden beneath its alien skies? Finally, the moment arrived. The spacecraft descended gracefully onto the surface of the alien world, its engines humming softly as it touched down on unfamiliar soil. The air crackled with anticipation as the airlock hissed open, revealing the brave explorers clad in their sleek spacesuits. Stepping out onto the alien landscape, the humans marveled at the strange beauty that surrounded them. Towering spires stretched towards the heavens, casting long shadows across the alien landscape. Strange flora and fauna dotted the horizon, their colors more vibrant and alien than anything on Earth. And then they saw them. The aliens emerged from the shadows, their forms unlike anything the humans had ever seen. Tall and graceful, with shimmering scales and luminous eyes, they exuded an otherworldly presence that left the humans breathless with wonder. For a moment, silence reigned as the two species regarded each other with a mixture of curiosity and wariness. Then, with a graceful gesture, the leader of the alien delegation stepped forward, extending a hand in greeting. "We welcome you to our world," the alien said, its voice a melodic chorus that echoed across the alien landscape. "We have watched your journey across the stars with great interest, and we are honored to finally meet you." The humans exchanged nervous glances, their minds racing with 1,000 questions. What did the aliens want? What secrets did their world hold? And most importantly, were they friend or foe? Gathering their courage, the human delegation returned the aliens' greeting, their voices steady despite the uncertainty that gnawed at their hearts. "We come in peace," they said, their words a solemn vow to uphold the ideals of diplomacy and cooperation. And so, against the backdrop of a distant alien sky, humanity took its first tentative steps into a new era of interstellar relations. Little did they know that their encounter with the aliens would set into motion a chain of events that would forever alter the course of history. As the initial awe of first contact began to fade, humanity and the alien civilization found themselves faced with the daunting task of navigating the complexities of interstellar diplomacy. It was a challenge unlike any they had ever encountered, fraught with cultural differences, linguistic barriers, and the ever-present specter of misunderstanding. The first round of diplomatic talks took place in a grand hall, adorned with symbols of both human and alien cultures. Representatives from both sides sat across from each other, their expressions guarded as they exchanged pleasantries and formalities. The humans, with their earnest smiles and firm handshakes, sought to convey a message of goodwill and cooperation. The aliens, with their inscrutable expressions and graceful gestures, responded in kind, their voices a melodic chorus that filled the air with an otherworldly resonance. Yet despite their best efforts, communication proved to be a challenge. The humans struggled to grasp the nuances of the alien language, with its complex syntax and unfamiliar phonetics. The aliens, for their part, found human speech to be harsh and grating, their attempts at pronunciation often resulting in unintentional misunderstandings. Undeterred by these initial setbacks, both sides redoubled their efforts to bridge the gap between them. Translators worked tirelessly to decipher the alien language, while linguists labored over dictionaries and phrasebooks in an attempt to find common ground. Slowly but surely, progress was made. Through a combination of patience, perseverance, and the occasional miscommunication, the humans and aliens began to find ways to communicate with each other. Basic phrases were exchanged, cultural customs were observed, and tentative bonds of friendship began to form. As the diplomatic talks continued, both sides sought to find common ground on a range of issues, from trade agreements to mutual defense pacts. It was a delicate balancing act, with each side striving to protect their own interests, while also respecting the needs and concerns of the other. Yet amidst the negotiations and formalities, moments of genuine connection began to emerge. Human and alien delegates found themselves sharing stories and anecdotes, laughing together at the absurdities of their respective cultures, and forging bonds of camaraderie that transcended the boundaries of language and species. And so, against all odds, humanity and the alien civilization began to forge a path forward together. Though the road ahead would undoubtedly be fraught with challenges and obstacles, both sides were determined to overcome them, united in their shared vision of a brighter future for all who called the cosmos home. As the diplomatic efforts between humanity and the alien civilization progressed, tensions began to simmer beneath the surface, threatening to undermine the fragile peace that had been painstakingly built. It started with subtle shifts in tone and body language, small indicators of growing unease that were easy to overlook but impossible to ignore. The humans, accustomed to their own ways of governance and social norms, found themselves increasingly frustrated by the alien civilization's enigmatic customs and hierarchical structures. The aliens, in turn, bristled at what they perceived as human arrogance and ignorance of their ancient traditions. Misunderstandings and miscommunications only served to exacerbate the situation, fueling a sense of mistrust and suspicion on both sides. Cultural differences that had once been viewed as quaint curiosities now loomed large as insurmountable obstacles, casting a shadow over the fledgling alliance between humanity and the aliens. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks turned into months, the tensions continued to escalate, reaching a boiling point that threatened to spill over into open conflict. Both sides traded barbs and accusations, each convinced of their own righteousness and the other's perfidy. The humans accused the aliens of withholding vital information and manipulating the diplomatic process to serve their own interests. The aliens, in turn, accused the humans of cultural imperialism and attempting to impose their values and beliefs onto a civilization that had thrived long before humanity ever set foot among the stars. Amidst the rising tensions, rumors began to circulate, fueled by fear and paranoia. Whispers of clandestine alliances and hidden agendas spread like wildfire, sowing seeds of doubt and discord among the ranks of both humans and aliens. In the corridors of power, leaders on both sides grappled with the daunting task of maintaining control in the face of growing unrest. Diplomatic channels remained open, but the atmosphere grew increasingly fraught with each passing day, as both sides dug in their heels and prepared for the worst. Yet amidst the chaos and uncertainty, there were still glimmers of hope. Brave individuals on both sides worked tirelessly to bridge the divide, reaching out across the gaping chasm of mistrust to find common ground and forge genuine connections. Small gestures of goodwill and solidarity began to emerge, breaking through the barriers of fear and suspicion that had threatened to tear humanity and the alien civilization apart. It was a fragile ray of hope in a world consumed by darkness, but it was enough to remind both sides of the potential for unity and cooperation in the face of adversity. And so, as tensions continued to rise and the specter of conflict loomed ever closer, humanity and the alien civilization found themselves at a crossroads. The path ahead was uncertain, fraught with danger and uncertainty, but there was still a glimmer of hope that together they could overcome the challenges that lay ahead and build a future worthy of the stars. As tensions between humanity and the alien civilization reached a fever pitch, the leaders of both sides found themselves faced with a dire choice: continue down the path of escalating conflict, or seek a resolution before it was too late. In a last-ditch effort to avert disaster, humanity issued an ultimatum to the aliens, laying out their demands and the consequences of non-compliance in stark terms. The ultimatum was delivered in a solemn ceremony, with representatives from both sides gathered in a grand hall, adorned with symbols of their respective civilizations. The atmosphere was tense, with the air thick with anticipation and uncertainty. Standing before the assembled delegates, a human diplomat spoke with measured words, his voice carrying the weight of the ultimatum he was about to deliver. "We stand on the brink of war," he began, his words echoing through the hall. "But it is not too late to avert disaster. We offer you a choice: comply with our demands, or face the consequences." The demands laid out in the ultimatum were clear and unequivocal. Humanity demanded an end to the alien civilization's aggressive posturing and expansionist policies, as well as full transparency and cooperation in all matters relating to interstellar affairs. Failure to comply with these demands, the ultimatum warned, would result in severe consequences for the alien civilization. Humanity stood ready to take whatever measures were necessary to protect their interests and ensure the safety and security of their own people. The response from the alien delegates was immediate and impassioned. They rejected the ultimatum outright, accusing humanity of imperialism and aggression. "You have no right to dictate terms to us," they declared, their voices rising in anger. "We will not bow to your threats and intimidation." As tensions continued to mount, both sides dug in their heels, unwilling to back down in the face of the other's demands. Diplomatic channels remained open, but the atmosphere grew increasingly hostile, with each side accusing the other of bad faith and duplicity. In the corridors of power, leaders on both sides grappled with the daunting task of charting a course forward in the face of seemingly insurmountable obstacles. The specter of war loomed large on the horizon, casting a shadow of fear and uncertainty over the entire galaxy. Yet amidst the chaos and uncertainty, there were still voices of reason and moderation calling for restraint and diplomacy. Brave individuals on both sides worked tirelessly to find common ground and diffuse the escalating tensions before it was too late. But time was running out, and the window for peaceful resolution was rapidly closing. As the deadline imposed by the ultimatum drew near, humanity and the alien civilization stood on the brink of all-out war, their fates hanging in the balance. In the end, it would be up to the leaders of both sides to decide the fate of the galaxy. Would they choose the path of peace and cooperation, or would they allow their differences to spiral out of control, plunging the cosmos into darkness and despair? Only time would tell, but one thing was certain: the stakes had never been higher, and the consequences of failure had never been more dire. As the ultimatum loomed large on the horizon, humanity and the alien civilization braced themselves for the moment of reckoning that would determine the fate of the galaxy for generations to come. As the deadline imposed by humanity's ultimatum loomed large on the horizon, both sides began to make preparations for the looming conflict. The atmosphere was charged with tension, with the specter of war casting a shadow over the entire galaxy. On Earth, military forces were mobilized and put on high alert as leaders prepared for the possibility of open hostilities with the alien civilization. Troops drilled tirelessly, honing their skills and preparing for the challenges that lay ahead. Weapons were stockpiled, and defenses were bolstered in anticipation of the coming storm. In space, fleets of warships patrolled the borders of human-controlled space, their sleek hulls bristling with weapons and sensors. They stood ready to defend their homeworld and strike back against any incursions from the alien civilization. Meanwhile, on the alien world, similar preparations were underway. The alien civilization mobilized its own military forces, marshaling its fleets and fortifying its defenses in anticipation of the coming conflict. Warships patrolled the skies, their powerful engines thrumming with the promise of destruction. As the tension continued to mount, both sides engaged in a frantic game of cat and mouse, probing each other's defenses and testing each other's resolve. Skirmishes erupted along the borders of human and alien-controlled space, with both sides vying for strategic advantage and seeking to gain the upper hand in the coming conflict. Yet, amidst the preparations for war, there were still voices of reason and moderation calling for restraint and diplomacy. Brave individuals on both sides worked tirelessly to find a peaceful resolution to the crisis, urging their leaders to step back from the brink before it was too late. But their pleas fell on deaf ears as the drumbeats of war grew ever louder. The deadline imposed by humanity's ultimatum loomed large on the horizon, casting a pall of uncertainty and fear over the entire galaxy. And then, with a sense of inevitability, the moment of reckoning arrived. Humanity's ultimatum expired, and the leaders of both sides stood poised to make their final decisions. Would they choose the path of peace and diplomacy, or would they allow their differences to spiral out of control, plunging the galaxy into darkness and despair? As the tension reached its breaking point, the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. The preparations for conflict were complete, and the stage was set for a confrontation that would shape the course of history for generations to come. But amidst the chaos and uncertainty, there was still a glimmer of hope. For even in the darkest of times, the human spirit endured, resilient and unyielding in the face of adversity. And so, as the galaxy braced itself for the coming storm, humanity stood ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, united in their determination to forge a future worthy of the stars. As the deadline imposed by humanity's ultimatum came to pass, the galaxy was plunged into the chaos of war. The tension that had simmered for so long finally reached its boiling point, unleashing a storm of violence and destruction that swept across the cosmos with devastating force. It began with a single spark, a minor skirmish along the border of human-controlled space that quickly escalated into a full-scale conflict. Warships clashed in the void of space, their powerful weapons unleashing torrents of energy that lit up the darkness with fiery explosions. The alien civilization, determined to defend its territory and protect its way of life, launched wave after wave of warships against humanity's defenses. The humans, equally resolved to defend their homeworld and uphold their principles, met the alien onslaught with fierce determination and unwavering resolve. Battles raged across the galaxy, with both sides suffering heavy losses as they fought tooth and nail for control of strategic planets and resources. Planetary colonies were besieged, their populations caught in the crossfire as warships traded blows in orbit above their heads. On Earth, cities shook as the ground trembled beneath the onslaught of alien bombardments. Civilian populations huddled in makeshift shelters, their lives hanging in the balance as they waited for the storm of war to pass. In the midst of the chaos, brave individuals on both sides worked tirelessly to mitigate the suffering and protect the innocent. Medics tended to the wounded, risking their own lives to save others. Humanitarian organizations provided aid to those displaced by the conflict, offering food, shelter, and comfort to those in need. But despite their efforts, the toll of war was heavy, with casualties mounting on both sides with each passing day. Families were torn apart, their lives shattered by the violence and destruction that engulfed the galaxy. Yet amidst the darkness, there were still moments of courage and heroism that shone like beacons of hope in the night. Soldiers fought bravely against overwhelming odds, their courage and sacrifice inspiring others to stand tall in the face of adversity. As the war raged on, both sides dug in their heels, refusing to back down in the face of the other's aggression. Diplomatic efforts to end the conflict faltered, with each side blaming the other for the bloodshed and destruction that ravaged the galaxy. And so, as the fires of war burned bright across the cosmos, humanity and the alien civilization found themselves locked in a bitter struggle for survival. The outcome of the conflict remained uncertain, with the fate of the galaxy hanging in the balance. But amidst the chaos and devastation, there was still a glimmer of hope that one day the fires of war would be extinguished and peace would once again reign supreme. For even in the darkest of times, the human spirit endured, resilient and unyielding in the face of adversity. And so, as the galaxy braced itself for the trials that lay ahead, humanity stood ready to face whatever challenges came their way, united in their determination to forge a future worthy of the stars. As the dust settled and the echoes of war faded into the void of space, the galaxy emerged from the crucible of conflict forever changed. The aftermath of the war left a trail of devastation in its wake, with countless lives lost and entire worlds laid to waste by the ferocity of the fighting. On Earth, cities lay in ruins, their once vibrant streets now silent and deserted. The scars of battle marred the landscape, a grim reminder of the price paid for peace. Yet, amidst the rubble and debris, signs of hope began to emerge as survivors emerged from the shadows, determined to rebuild and reclaim their lost futures. Humanity mourned the loss of loved ones and comrades in arms, their hearts heavy with grief for those who had fallen in the line of duty. Yet even in their darkest hour, they found strength in unity and solidarity, coming together to support one another in their time of need. In the halls of power, leaders grappled with the daunting task of rebuilding their shattered societies and restoring order to the chaos left in the wake of war. Plans were drawn up for reconstruction and recovery, with resources allocated to aid those most affected by the devastation. But amidst the challenges of rebuilding, there were also opportunities for renewal and growth. Communities came together to forge new bonds of friendship and cooperation, united by a shared sense of purpose and determination to build a better future for themselves and their children. Meanwhile, in the far reaches of space, the alien civilization also struggled to come to terms with the aftermath of the war. Their once proud empire lay in ruins, their world scarred by the ravages of conflict. Yet amidst the devastation, they too found hope in the promise of a new beginning, determined to rise from the ashes and rebuild their shattered society. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks turned into months, the galaxy began to heal from the wounds of war. Slowly but surely, life returned to normalcy as people went about their daily lives with a renewed sense of purpose and determination. Yet the memories of the war would linger for generations to come, a reminder of the fragility of peace and the cost of conflict. But amidst the pain and suffering, there were also lessons to be learned about the power of resilience and the strength of the human spirit in the face of adversity. And so, as the galaxy moved forward into an uncertain future, humanity and the alien civilization alike were determined to forge a path of peace and cooperation, united by their shared experiences and their unwavering commitment to building a better world for all who call the cosmos home.